this one will be all about the pick'ems for Stage 3 of the Blast Austin 2025 major, the first major of the calendar year that so far has been going completely against everything, wholly and everything that we could have expected out of it. But yeah, we're still gonna give it a go. Good news is it doesn't really matter how your pick'ems have been going in game. All that matters is how your pick'ems have been going in SkinClub, because this is where you could potentially win a Dragon Lore. You could win $20,000 in skins and giveaways. So there is a lot to compete for right now, and yeah, this is what this video is going to be about. We're going to take a look at how things went in Stage 2. We're going to talk about some of the bigger upsets, maybe. Not going to go into too much detail, but just speak about the most important things and then go into Stage 3 and our expectations. And then we're going to do the pick'ems that you should all do on SkinClub as well, because it's free, you can win, it's fun, there is no reason not to do it. And yeah, it is a little bit easier as well to get correct picks, because even if you put a team to be, to go through and they end up being 3-0, you do end up getting the point. So it's kind of like we get a bit of a going back in row back in time to the good old days when the pick'ems in Counter-Strike used to actually make a little bit more sense, and it was a little bit easier to get. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it, see what happened in Stage 2, and then we're going to come back and do the pick'ems. Alright, so Stage 2 was a bit of a mess, honestly. I'm pretty sure most of you have already seen the big elephant in the room. The big news was the fact that the Falcons didn't make it out. They lost 3 games, they won only 1, and that was a close best of 3 against OG that they could have lost. Single digits losses in BO1s against Bait and Lim Vision, and then a 1-2 really disappointing, really dire performance against MIBR. Not because of because of the end result as well, but because of the fact that they were actually so close to closing it out. That 5 versus 3 round, which I'm not gonna make SkinClub put it in the edit, because I just don't wanna watch it again. But yeah, Falcons had a 5v3 on the B bomb side, post plant on Inferno, and they just threw it. And MIBR ended up putting the game into another overtime and then winning. So yeah, Nico is part of another team that doesn't make it even close, remotely close to what was expected after FaZe and Krakow in 2017. This is probably the second big disappointment, and I guess Rio as well is in there when he was on G2 and they couldn't even make it into the major. So yeah, major curses for Nico keep on happening, which is a bit of a shame, because it would have been exciting to see the Falcons play in the next stage and potentially in the playoffs, but they won't be making it there. Outside of that, I'd say probably the bigger disappointments, and I'm not going to put OG in that category, because I think even though they are 0-3, they should have won M80, so it's disappointing the way that they didn't win a game. But I think for that type of a young lineup and for an organization that had missed out on a couple majors prior to qualifying for this one, this is still a step in the right direction, and I don't think the players themselves are going to be that disappointed. I take that as a learning experience for this team. Bet Boom was disappointing, definitely. Axel's individual performance not really hitting the level that it should. Is he still good enough to be on a high level? I think he's got the skill. Is there a mental barrier between him and his old form? Probably. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going on with Bedboom, what happens next. I still believe that Boomich is a tier 1 in-game leader and a world-class captain, so I hope even if Bedboom don't keep on improving, I hope at least Boomich is going to find his way out. But I believe in this project. As soon as Exile starts playing well, I think Bedboom could be a really good team, but yeah, things didn't click here. Bait probably should have made it. A 1-2 close game against Fira, 1-2 loss against Lim Vision, which I think is going to be the one to leave sour taste in their mouths. Overall, a good event. I guess it's the same that we can say about OG. With Bait, the expectations are a little bit higher because of MPO and Headtrick, but in reality, they shouldn't. So, yeah, Bait, I think is good enough to play in the next stage, and they are better than some of the teams that will be playing there. They could have put up a good fight. It's a little bit of a shame, but in the end of the day, you get a deciding best of 3 against Lim Vision. You need to win that. Probably couldn't deal with the pressure. Probably felt like they were the favorites, and they just took it a little bit. I don't want to say they took it a little bit too serious, but it does push you down a little bit when you are putting expectations on yourselves that are high in such an important game. MIBR did their part, eliminated Bedboom, eliminated Falcons, allowed FaZe Clan and Simple into the next stage, so good enough for them. they will be disappointed, obviously, because they lost a really close BO1 against Legacy, really close BO1 against Amiga, and then they didn't look bad in the BO3s, and they probably should have won the Ancient against FaZe Clan as well. Should have been the third map, and we don't really know what would have happened there, but yeah, sometimes Karrigan and Frozen do magic, and Simple just unlocked an overtime and took them over. Heroic as well, a team that I would say should have made it, but again, there is that conversation always when we know a team is not going to stay in the same lineup after an event or after the season. You're always going to be questioning how motivated people around you are, even if you yourself are given 100%. And I'm not saying they did. Maybe things just didn't click, right? Maybe sometimes this is how it goes in Counter-Strike, and you just can't deliver in the on the level that you thought. I am a little bit disappointed. I wanted to see Heroic in the next stage, regardless of So and some Pius now officially, I guess, being part of G2. But yeah, those are the teams that didn't make it through. For M80 and Tylo, I wouldn't say I'm shocked. I wouldn't say there's anything significant to be said there. So with that being said, VP 3-0, incredible, really good, really solid. Legacy 3-0, I'm not really sure how I feel about this, because I don't even feel like they had an easy draw to make it through, but they annihilated FaZe Clan in that 2-0, so fair enough. Pain was a pleasant surprise. Furia, again, expected good performance, lost a really close BO1 to Pain, but other than that, looked pretty solid. And then the big surprise, obviously, is Live Vision making it through. But I guess for all of us, this is a free get out of jail 0-3 card for the next stage. But yeah, with that being said, we are going to take a look at the major calculator and the way that the first round matchups are routing out. And the reason I'm doing this is my logic of finding out which the teams to be putting 3-0 and 0-3 are. Now, Vitality have a first round matchup against Legacy that puts them on really good track. So I'm not looking at this. We might for some, but you should bear in mind, one of those first round matchups goes against our expectations. Everything else changes. So I will just say Vitality Legacy, I think, is a free nice start for Vitality, even though they did lose 11 rounds to Legacy on a single best of one or on a single map in a BO3 series in EPL on Dust 2. I still don't think Legacy are going to be able to carry on the momentum against Vitality. Maybe some of the other teams could have been a possibility, not against Vitality. And I think for Legacy, they are bringing in momentum, but they also haven't played in a couple days. I think they are one of those teams that would have benefited from a lesser break almost between the previous stage and this one. Mouse VP is a 50-50 in my book, considering VP played good Counter-Strike, and yet the veto is really uncomfortable for Virtus Pro against Mouse. There is a big chance that Mouse get them on an Ancient. There's a big chance that they get them on a Mirage. Those are maps that VP want to play, especially a Mirage, but results have not been great. Now, the good thing is with Virtus Pro, I think for them and for 3D Max, it was quite obvious that the veto has become a little bit stronger and deeper in the previous stage, but again, that was maybe against teams that are definitely not on the caliber of Mouse. So I will still go with Mouse. Pain Spirit is the one game that in a best of one makes me want to stay away from both those teams for a 3-0, even though I think both those teams have a really strong case to be made about making it through. Obviously, Spirit is a 99.9% to make it through out of the groups. I think Pain as well. And I honestly think that with just 1 month of preparation, Pain did look really good. And this was my main concern, because I was thinking about putting Pain to go further in my stage 2 predictions as well. I didn't do that because I was doubting how much time they've had to prepare and build up a good game plan and get DGT to get, I guess, comfortable in the team. So with me, for Pain, it was probably a when things would click, not an if things would click. They have, apparently, at least for the first stage. So I think they will still be competitive and they could beat Spirit, but maybe not. Maybe not in a really convincing fashion. Or even if they do take a BL1 out of them, I don't doubt Spirit are going to make it through. G2 3D Max is a really interesting opening matchup, because the last time those two played, G2 did win in a BO3. They won 2 comfortable maps, and then 3D Max won just 1 map, which was an overtime. So I really believe that usually 3D Max have veto issues, but at least now I think they've put in a lot of work. I think maps like Dust 2, like Inferno has improved massively. I honestly think G2 is one of the teams that I would consider even for a 0-3, considering they're playing with Hades right now, considering there's a lot of roster chaos there as well. I don't think Snacks is staying after the break. There's probably a lot of things changing, so I would say they're in turmoil, and I think 3D Max have improved since the last couple of events. So I would put 3D Max to start it off with a win over G2, even though usually in historically G2 have always played well against 3D Max. Mongo's Fury is an interesting one. I would still go with the Mongos just because I think they're a solid enough team to put your money on in the group stage, but Fury have looked good, and they are probably one of the teams that I think would go through as well. Then Aurora FaZe is a 50-50 in my book. Again, both teams strong cases to make it out of the groups. Navi and Amiga supposed to be a free win for Navi, but I'm not sure it will be. Again, a team that is probably going to make some changes after the break, and we don't really know how many people actually have a solid spot on the team and how many people want to stay, how many people want to leave. We have no clue what's going on with Navi. The last couple of events have not been great, and with Nemiga, they've been, honestly, I think, having the time of their lives right now. First major in the organization's history. Lear has been hyping everyone up and being the trash talk GOAT, which obviously helps him, but it helps his teammates as well. Zway has been playing well, Xanter's been playing well, Khan has had a couple of pop-off moments, and Risky Bob is bringing in good impact. I just think Nemiga is a really fun and crafty team to watch. A lot of it has to be given away to Box, the coach, obviously. And yeah, I'm not willing to write them down or write them off. I'm not willing to put them 0-3. I just respect the team too much at this point. And then Liquid Lim Vision should be a free win for Liquid. I like what Lim Vision have done so far, but I think it's time for it to come to an end. So after those first round matchups, if all we say comes true, we get a 1-0 Vitality against 3D Max, which I think is doable. And then in the 0-1s, we get a G2 Lim Vision, which for me is the big issue. If that happens, those are the two teams that I would put in 0-3. I think both Legacy and Amiga, I mean, those are the teams that you would say should be 0-3, right? Out of those four teams, at least in my eyes, you should have your two picks. VP FaZe, Pain, and Fury, even if they lose their first round matchups, I don't think it's going down. I won't be too horrendous. And I will say, I think it's a little bit more reasonable for G2 to beat Lim Vision. But if Lim Vision beat G2, G2's playing FaZe, and I think they're losing that shit. If, of course, FaZe end up dropping against Virtus.pro. So, again, one game going wrong from what we've just said and what we've been explaining so far. And all of this is completely different. So, now we're going to go into SkinClub. We're going to do the pick'ems. And for the 0-3, I'm just going to trust my gut. I'm just going to go with the obvious choice and hope for the best. All right, we're already in here. We're back here. So there is going to be a link for you in the description of the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, obviously you can use. There's a lot of creators actually doing those pick'ems as well, but you can use my my link if you wanna participate. We are gonna dive into it. As I told you, you make your predictions, you earn points, you get the prizes, earn a medal, and get free cases. So it's a win-win, and it's totally free. Stage 1, this is how things went for me. I got Heroic, I got Bait, OG, Bedboom, and Tyloo, so I got 5 points. Stage 2 is a complete mess. Lim Vision 0-3 obviously didn't work. Falcons 3-0 obviously didn't work. FaZe Clan 3D Max and Fury, I got Heroic, Bedboom, Bait, and OG. Nope. So yeah. We got only, you get 2 for each, so we got 6 points out of this, and now we're going into this one. So as we said, we're putting in Vitality as our 3-0. This is a safe one. I think they're winning this major, and I don't want to pretend we live in a world where, because Falcons choked like that, something crazy is going to happen to Vitality as well. I really hope it doesn't. Teams to go through, we're going to put in Mouse, we're going to put in Spirit, we're going to put in the Mongols, and we're going to put Aurora. Those are the 4 teams that I trust a lot. I trust maybe the most. We're going to put in FaZe Clan. I think they will keep on playing better and better with each and every game, and I think those 2 BO3s that they lost were a bit of a wake-up call, and they will progressively improve more and more and more, and this is a team that will just become better and better the more the players believe, and I think they believe a lot more now than they did just 1 day ago or 2 days ago. Now, the last 2 spots for progression are the ones that you could have a lot of arguments about. You could say you believe Navi's gonna come in and produce a high level of play. You could say you believe in 3D Max's improvement, and I wouldn't call you crazy. I would call you crazy if you told me you believe in Liquid, but again, it is justifiable. I will go Virtus.pro out of respect for what they did in the previous stage. I think this is the best looking VP we've seen all year because of, as well, Electronics' individual performance. And I think they are playing like a solid tier 1 team right now. I don't know if they're playing on the level of obviously the others, because those wins that they got were not against top 5 teams, but they did look pretty solid. So I will give them the vote of trust. And for the last spot, for me at least personally, it's between Fury and Pain. I've loved the rebuild of Furia with Molodoi and Yukender. I think it gives the team a fresh look. And I think if it is down to the 2-2 deciding matchup, they are probably, because of experience, going to best Pain. But I will still give my vote of trust to Pain. I think they will be the pleasant surprise of this major, considering not a lot of people have been talking about them because of the bad results before the start of the major. But they had only one event with DGT, and that was without any preparation. Now they've put in some work in the server. I think they look like the most solid Pain we've had so far in 2025. So I will put them in. I like what Fury is doing. There is a high chance that they make their way in there. And I think VP and Pain are my wild cards for this. Face Clan as well, I would classify as a wild card, even though no, I can't. They have too many world class players. I think VP and Pain are my wild cards for this one, but I believe in both teams, and I think there's reasons for that. For the 0-3, as I told you, for me personally, it's between G2 and Lim Vision. I honestly have more trust in Legacy and Amiga than I do have in G2, but I will put Lim Vision. I will do that for the third time. First 2 times it didn't work. Oh no, actually, I put the Chinggis Warriors here first time, and it didn't work. But I put Lim Vision here, 0-3. It didn't work. In my in-game pick'ems, I put Lim Vision as well. This is the third time. Third time's the charm. This is what I'm locking in. Those are going to be my picks for stage 3. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think about that. Let me know if the previous stages you've been able to get through with more than what I have. And hopefully we'll see you here again for the playoffs. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more success with this stage in comparison to stage 2. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the vid, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.